Okay, so are you ready with your recording gadgets? You may need to take some notes right now. And thanks for staying tuned. We're still with you on Today with John and Helen live from PlusTvAfrica.
And our last guest is a man who needs very little introduction, yet has a profile we've had trouble editing. He's hailed by Brian Tracy as one of the very best speakers in the world today. A motivator of international acclaim, our guest is recognized for his inspiring talks in leadership in public speaking trainings. He's dedicated to human capacity building since 1999. Ubong Essien is currently Dean of the School of Eloquence, an accomplished author of Speak with Power, The Challenge to Perform, The Gateways to Riches, and many others. Our guest is passionate about motivating individuals and helping them to achieve personal and professional excellence. Yeah.
Join us at this point to welcome a trailblazer in the industry, a catalyst for transformation, and recently special advisor on communications and strategy to the Director General NIMASA, global speaker and motivator, Ubong Essien. Finally, Ubong, you get to make it to this studio. Finally. How now?
Finally. Wow. That was quite some intro.
Yes,
I was almost wondering whether I would need to make an entrance. Wow, thank you so much. I feel so honored.
It's so good to finally catch up with you.
Thank you, sir.
Ubong Essien.
Thank you, sir.
I'm trying to get the pronunciation of that name. Ubong Essien.
That's fine, we'll take that.
You take that. So I believe public speakers are special gifts to the universe, and I want to personally welcome you.
Thank you
to this program. Now straight to business.
Absolutely.
We have very little time
Absolutely.
left. We're looking at the power of focus.
Yeah.
What would you say is focus, and how powerful is it?
To truly appreciate what focus means, I'd like you to compare the impact of a knife edge to a clenched fist. Once you can look at life from that angle, it changes what's truly important for you as an individual, whether you're a professional, as an entity, whether you're in business, whatever it is. Because with a knife edge, you really need very little effort to slice through.
It's a cutting edge, they say.
It cuts through. But with a clenched fist, the amount of force and pressure you will bring to bear on any surface would be quite significant, but you will not get the same result. Why? Because when you look at your clenched fist, there is already a dissipation across the knuckles. But with a knife edge, there is a concentration. So in looking at focus, you are actually having a conversation about concentration versus dissipation. When you take that approach into your life, it can become one of the most remarkable experiences you have, because it then sets the foundation for how far you can go. Now, those who go very far usually do so because of focus. They make that determination very early. So that's my way of defining focus. That look at life that way, and then you'll find that focus is a call to narrowing, so that ultimately you can be as widespread as possible. But you know, for us as human beings, the desire is always to be everywhere, to be everything. If you look at what I would call the typical human disposition, we want to fill every space. We want everyone to know us. How about for once just slowing down and saying, I'm not interested in everybody knowing me, but those who truly matter in terms of what I have to offer. So that's really what focus is about. It's a mindset that allows you to narrow so that you can channel better, you can concentrate resources, time, energy, attention in a very meaningful and significant manner in order to create the outcomes that you want. And so one author puts it in a manner that truly, fully encapsulates it for me by saying focus is simply following one course until successful.
Okay. All right. When Ubong gets started, there's no stopping him. But we'll talk about this one to move on. How does the concept of focus contribute to navigating the turbulent times that we're in effectively?
Effectively. Yes, you raise a very important word, turbulent times.
Yes.
And indeed, we are in turbulent times because when we look at the amount of instability in the system, in our country, even globally, when you look at the level of uncertainty, you wake up in the morning at 7 a.m., the dollar was 150 naira.
Don't go there.
And then by what, 10 a.m., you call your whoever you want to make the exchange for, say, no, it's now 170. And so whatever plans you have, you really get concerned because there's uncertainty, it's unstable, and just using that as a poster child for what, or a poster figure for what we're dealing with when it comes to turbulence. Then you now talk about rapid change. Everything is going at such a dizzying pace. Enough to drive you crazy. And we see this everywhere, even in raising children. The way they evolve so quickly, not certainly in the same world that some of us lived in. You go out there, the educational system, your dealings with people, interactions, even from our devices. So you look at these three elements: instability, uncertainty, and rapid change. Together, whether it is for the individual who is a professional or an entrepreneur or in leadership or an entity, it be a business or a social enterprise. These are the things that I don't want to collectively refer to them as a cocktail, because I don't want to be negative in my view of turbulence, even though turbulence creates its own challenges. These are the things that create turbulence. So it's important, if we're going to look at how focus can help us, let's understand the concept of turbulence, why we have it. Because turbulence, upheavals, are a necessary part of life and living, designed to help us grow, designed to help us develop. And that's why it calls for navigation. That's first and foremost. Now you asked a very important question. How can focus help us in this regard? First, you stand a greater chance of surviving and then going on to thrive through turbulence if you are already focused in your approach and in your mindset. Because when challenges come, you can look at what you're doing and ask yourself, okay, how do I become resilient? How do I adapt? Because that's what turbulence is asking us to do. Adjust. We found ourselves in circumstances that we did not create, beyond our control. But we are concerned because we have interest in making our lives much more meaningful, much more successful. So since you already focus, maybe you have a business that produces something that has meaning and you've created a sense of focus around it. It's adding value, and then turbulence comes to upend that offering. What do you do? So if you had a restaurant, for instance, where you prided yourself in patronage, real life human patronage, and then turbulence, COVID struck,
and no one is in there,
we can't come out to give that restaurant that feel that defines its essence and brand. But because you're already focused along the line of hospitality as a restaurant owner, you can then begin to ask yourself, is this turbulence inviting me to adapt? If I'm going to be resilient and come out of COVID still standing because I'm already focused. So turbulence focus meets this restaurant owner in a good place because they're already focused. But if turbulence, COVID comes, you are into a restaurant, then a part of you is into buying and selling. Then another part of you is into real estate. So you have several eggs scattered all across. What turbulence will do will be to find you in a panicking situation, or what we call panic balance. Because you're looking at it, where are all my holdings? I have this, how do I suddenly consolidate? So that turbulence will probably move you into doing what you could have done ab initio, have a focused approach. So the guy who is focused stands a better chance to begin to ask the right questions, to make those adjustments. Because turbulence is essentially saying, look, I'm not your enemy. I I just need you to adjust. Once in a while, I will come into your life. Can you be humble enough? Can you be objective? Have an orientation to reality. Don't be pessimistic and say, okay, what needs to change? So let me go back quickly to that restaurant owner who then says, okay, we've got to keep the ovens on. We've got to keep the kitchen cooking, frying, and what have you. Guess what? Maybe it's time to take the experience to people's home. That's why you found the level of growth in an additional value-added sector, delivery-wise, during COVID.
This is quite interesting, and I always say to my guests that when I sit up, it means
I thought you were about chasing me.
So now you've established the importance of focus, and you've also talked about turbulence. Now, I want you to take it a step further. Let's look at sustained focus.
Okay.
Because now, especially at this time, it's very easy for us to lose focus.
That's right.
How do we sustain focus?
First and foremost, we've got to understand that if you're going to sustain focus, you need to resolve a couple of things.
Yeah.
Because focus is essentially about, my mind is made up. And my mind was made up, not along the way, but ab initio, that this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
If you can't find yourself rather in that situation, then you're going to have a problem with sustainability.
Yeah.
Because you find that you picked up, along the way you pick up other things and distractions. Because that's really the problem. Focus is essentially your ability to stave off distractions.
Distractions, yes.
So distractions will come. So as a person, to sustain focus, what you have to do is to ensure from the beginning, from the get-go, where am I going? What do I want? Now, if you already find that you're currently traveling, you can actually stop and have that conversation with yourself. Okay, what kind of person do I want to become? What kind of business do I want to build? What kind of career do I want to achieve?
Yes.
Resolve it first. After you have resolved it, that's the most important step. You then can channel your time, your energy,
Your resources.
your attention. People underestimate these things. Attention. All of it into that focus. Then you can almost guarantee that you will sustain your quest. That's why sometimes you look at certain persons, they've been doing certain things for so long, and we find it weird. We keep on wondering, how come 10 years, 15 years, that level of consistency sets in? It's because the foundation was right from the beginning. They knew what it was they wanted to do ab initio, and they set out for it. And sometimes that ab initio moment is for you to also make it clear what you do not want to do.
Yes.
Because that is equally clarifying.
Yes.
This is who we are, and this is what we are not. In that way, you embark on that journey. So when turbulence comes, you know that from your port of departure.
Yes.
Sorry, let me bring a bit of maritime into this. I spent 3 years in maritime.
Yeah.
I've been tasking myself, Ubon, how are you going to talk about maritime now that you're out? So I have an opportunity. From your port of departure, in that your vessel of ideas, of concept, your vision, you will definitely meet storms.
Yeah.
The seas, the waves, the winds are going to be there. But you know that you have a destination in mind, a port of call, which is where you're headed. So should the winds and the waves come, your compass is already there telling you this is how to navigate, telling you, oh, slow down, the waters are too choppy, slow down, adjust here and there, and sort of like Muhammad Ali would do, rope a dope here and there. Just you're buying time, but you know when you're going to strike because you know your ultimate destination. So you're not confused, it's clear. And so turbulence doesn't shake you. Instead, because you're focused, there's clarity, you're using turbulence like the eagle, who chooses not to flap its wings because of its massive expanse. Because an eagle cannot keep flapping forever. The expanse of its wings are significant.
Yeah.
So the eagle gets into a position where the currents enables it to use its wings to soar. That's why we say eagles soar. Eagles understand how to use turbulence, but they are also very focused creatures.
Okay. All right. I said it. Okay, now, so what role does mindfulness?
Okay.
Focus, mindfulness, all of that. What role does mindfulness play in enhancing focus and managing stress during turbulent times?
Okay.
We want to help the people out there today.
So, many people, it's really a challenging time, no doubt about it, in our country right now. I can tell you for the first time, I have come to understand that the rich also cry. They really cry. It's not a metaphor. It's not, it's not a figure of speech. I have, because the nature of what I do has me working with a lot of very high-profile people, and for years I never really heard any of them complain until recently. So the rich also cry. And one of the things that we're seeing as we go through this collective period of challenge and pain or turbulence, as we like to describe it, you've talked about mindfulness. For me, mindfulness is essentially how you are able to take out time on a regular basis to reflect. So in many cases, if you're not the type that has already been focused in terms of this is where I'm going, so when the challenges come, I can adapt. Turbulence will force you to become much more mindful.
Okay.
Because you're going to, it does one or two things. One, it will push you into reflecting a lot more. If you're running out of resources that you used to expend freely, what happens is that the new reality says to you, come on. I knew a guy who had 4 vehicles. These were very luxurious vehicles, high-end vehicles. In fact, they were toys to him. You know, there are people who buy cars for them. This is my latest toy. But I can tell you that because of this current turbulence, especially when you feel the pain at the fuel pump, and nobody is buying those vehicles off you again. I know a guy who said to himself, you know what the heck, why do I need toys? Please, can you use 2 of them and run VIP services from the airport in Abuja to wherever? And I can tell you, 4 years ago, this was not the kind of person that would stoop so low.
That's right.
He would never. Was a big boy. So, in coming to your question about mindfulness, sometimes circumstances will push us to be much more thoughtful. It's called in religious parlance enforced humility. We're asking you to do things the right way because it's the right way and it will help you. But you think, oh, no, I can go at it my own way. You could have taken the first part, which was genuine humility. These are the facts. But well, now that you haven't, be like the prodigal son who is about to die and says, I need to be mindful here because my father's house has servants and they are eating very well and doing very well. Okay, so be mindful. Let me find my way back home.
The director is saying to us, we need to bring this to a close. I need you to give us 5 basic things that Nigerians should begin to do now across the board, very quickly in 1 minute.
In 1 minute. Asking me to do a master class in 1 minute. I've lost 10 seconds already. Okay, so number 1, I think it's important for us to learn to adapt quickly. There's a new reality. Understand that we now have a circle of concern. There's nothing you can do about your circle of concern. If there's a government policy or something is happening out there in the world, you don't have control over it. Acceptance.
Number 1.
Then adapt. Adapt to it quickly. To adapt means you have to be humble and accept that certain things about you need to change. Number 3, you need to be very positive. It's very important, the positive mental attitude, in spite of the negativity that we see all around. So don't join the pity party. If people are busy complaining and pity partying, find a way to find a way to invest in drinks that they can pay for and continue partying. Number 4, think out of the box. Think out of the box. There are things you can do differently. Become frugal. Cut down expenses that are not necessary. You don't have to attend all the weddings. My wife is at a wedding now, I'm not there. Everyone is trying to scream. I said, look, 2 of us cannot get on a plane.
Number 5.
And then And then number 5 for me would be that you prepare for what is to come after the turbulence.
And
Look for the hidden opportunities and start to nurture it. Take risk. There are windows for risk even in this turbulence.
so there's no number 6. There's no number 6.
Above all, focus. Ubon, thank you. 1 hour with you isn't even enough. We just had 25 minutes window. Nothing more to say but to thank you for
Always a
giving
pleasure.
so many people wings to fly as a pioneer, especially on television.
Thank you.
You know,
What those good old days.
2002, way back.
Way back
We wish you
indeed.
the best, Ubon.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
no doubt, effective communication is a critical need for the world, especially now. Great job, Ubon.
Thank you very much.
Well done, and thanks
you
for
very
your
much.
time.
Thank you.
So much.
Always a pleasure.
All right, we shall take our very last break right now and return with today's final thoughts and, of course, John's nugget.